Choosing and having good companions is extremely important for many reasons and many aspects. Mankind cannot live alone. He needs to interact with one another, and in this interaction, he either gets influenced or influences. Respected viewers, brothers and sisters in Islam, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Welcome to another episode of Ziyarat Al-Arbaeen, 1438, 2016, with me, your host Ahmad Ali. Now, for the dear viewers who are just tuning in for the first time, over the past few nights we have been examining some of the key aspects of the youth in the 21st century and the correlation between them and Imam Al-Hussein and Imam Sahib Al-Asr wa Zaman. May Allah hasten his reappearance. These discussions were examined and were discussed with my dear and esteemed guest, Sheikh Dr. Usama Al-Atar. Assalamu alaikum, Shaykhana. Welcome back to another episode.
Thank you very much.
Hopefully we didn't tire you in your preparations and everything that you have gathered.
This is something that I really enjoy doing for
Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen.
the mu'mineen, and I pray to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, to all of you, my dear viewers, those of you who are unable to make it this year to Karbala, may Allah give you this opportunity to come back inshallah soon again, inshallah.
Inshallah. Now we do advise the dear viewers if they have any question revolving around today's topic, which is good and bad companionship. You can join our live feed on Facebook at Imam Hussein 3 TV. You can leave your comments right on the feed, or you can inbox us at Imam Hussein 3 TV. Now, Shaykhna, yesterday we left off at some of the questions that our dear sisters sent us the questions. They tend to have gotten offended in any way. We did apologize for anyone that did get offended, but the word of Allah is one. You cannot bend it. You cannot, go astray from it. It's one. It's straight. But today, there is a similarity between today's topic and yesterday's topic, because the majority of the questions that we got, it's about companionship, friends, and the peer pressure that brothers and sisters do tend to fall into, and one of the key reasons is peer pressure. Now, if we want to talk about companionship and comparing today's companions that we keep and call as friends, and how the Ahlul Bayt kept as companions. Now, keeping in mind we cannot reach Ahlul Bayt or the status of Ahlul Bayt, but how can we correlate between the two?
Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim, alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen, wa sallallahu ala Muhammadin wa alihi al-Tahirin. Many of us pray in our du'as, and I'm sure my viewers will agree that we pray to be among the companions of Imam Al-Mahdi Al-Muntadhar Ajjalallah Ta'ala Farajahu Al-Sharif.
In Du'a Al-Ahad.
In Du'a Al-Ahad, it's recommended if you read this du'a for 40 consecutive days, then inshallah you will become among the companions of the Imam Salamullahi alayh. Again, 40 may be literal, or could be that it becomes a habit. So then you have to make it a habit that you read it every single day. That's an important aspect to think about. Now, we all want to be among the companions of Imam Al-Mahdi Ajjalallah Ta'ala Farajahu Al-Sharif. The question is, what qualities is he looking for in companionship?
And how do we get there?
How do we get there? So the easy way to look at it is to look at the companions of the Imam Hussein alayhi salam. Look at some of their qualities, traits, and see, do we fit to be amongst some of them? My dear viewers, we sometimes try to fit in the society, fit in the norms. Now, this is of course something very reasonable, something very logical to do, and that's what we need to do. However, when the norms clash with religion, that's when we start sometimes to fall at a crossroad.
Yes.
And we tend to choose the norms over the religion. The hadith of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam to Ammar ibn Yasir tells him, Ya Ammar, if you see the whole world going in one path and Ali ibn Abi Talib alayhi salam going into another, then you follow Ali ibn Abi Talib.
Allahu Akbar.
And Imam Ali salamullah alayhi himself says, لا تستوحشوا طريق الحق لقلة سالكي. Don't feel strange, like a stranger on the path of truth, because there are not many people walking that
Going
path
down that road. Wow.
or going onto that road. Let's keep this in mind.
Yes.
Quran also says that the majority of the people are not believers.
Mm-hmm.
The majority of the people do not like the truth.
Mm-hmm.
So if we put all this into perspective, you know, where do we want to be? Do I want to be with the haqq or otherwise? With the truth or otherwise? Imam Al-Hussein alayhi salam left from Mecca with 1,000 men. He reached Medina on the second day of Muharram, approximately with about 600 people. By the time it was the day of Ashura, this number was reduced to around, let's say, 100, so that we keep the math easy. About 100 people. What happened to the 900 people that joined him? Where's the 90%? And we're not talking about the people who wrote to him letters in Kufa, told him, come, we will support you, we'll be there for you. In fact, the army that rose to fight against Imam Al-Hussein alayhi salam was from Kufa.
Yes.
They were Kufans.
And the majority of the people that wrote to Hussein,
and many of them wrote to Imam Al-Hussein. So they wrote him, they said, come over here, come over here. The minute he arrives, they take his sword, their swords, and they kill him. So God forbid, are we among those people who would like to be among the Imam, his companions? Come here, we need you, we pray for his reappearance. But God forbid, when he comes, are we going to be, God forbid, among those who are going to be pick up the swords and fighting against him? Because it is not the norm. It does not fit. We don't fit with the others if we are going to support the Imam salamullahi alayhi. You know, and people say, no, when we see the Imam, it's going to be different. Well, those people saw Imam Al-Hussein alayhi salam. They heard his voice.
they lived with him.
They lived with him. They knew him. In fact, some of them even fought next to him in Safin.
Yes.
As he was fighting with Imam Ali salamullahi alayhi. So where do we stand? Then there were the other group, the Tawabun. Tawabun
Came after.
who came after. You know, so these people supported Imam Hussein, loved Imam Al-Hussein. They did not want to fight against him, but they left him in Karbala. Later on, they regretted what they did. With their leader Sulaiman ibn Saud al-Khuza'i, they came to the grave of Imam Al-Hussein alayhi salam. 4,000 of them repented, and hence they're known as the Tawabun, the repenters. And then they rose in an army to fight against Bani Umayyah, but they were also killed.
Yes.
So these guys were the latecomers, you know. Then there were individuals who were like Ubaidillah ibn al-Hur al-Ju'fi.
Yes.
Imam Al-Hussein met him in Qasr Qatil. He told him, I am heading to Karbala. Do you want to join me? Do you want to be among my companions? He said, Ya ibn Rasulullah, I knew that the Kufans are preparing to fight against you, and they would punish anyone who would not fight against you. So I ran away from Kufa to escape fighting you. But I cannot really fight with you either. I mean, life is too precious. However, I have a very fast horse, and I can donate that to you. I give that to you. Donation. You know, I'll give you a donation. Imam Al-Hussein alayhi salam said, we don't need your donation. We need you. You want to come with us? Come. But otherwise, we don't need your horse. And so he left, unfortunately, Imam Al-Hussein. He turned that opportunity down. And it is narrated he was the first man to visit the grave of Imam Al-Hussein alayhi salam after his burial. He came to the grave, cried, and he has some lines of poetry, regretting that he did not take that opportunity.
What?
Sorry?
After what?
Well, this is the thing. So, and then you had those individuals who stayed with the Imam, those 10%, if we may call them, you know, or even less than 10% if you compare in the context of the whole Kufans, in terms of the whole Kufans who stood against him, in terms of the Tawabun who let him down initially, but then they came back to him, and so on. So what percentage do they stand in terms of all this? Maybe like 1%, maybe even less than 1%.
Well, 30,000 versus
You're talking about 100.
72.
You're talking about 100,
or
let's
100.
say. So where do we stand, my brothers and my sisters? You know, that's something really to think about. These are the questions I really ask myself on a regular basis. Where do I stand? Where do I rank among the companions of the Imam salamullahi alayhi? We all love to be with the Imam. We want to be his servants. So let us take a look at those 72 or those 100 or so, what qualities they had. And that, I think, can help us understand what is Imam Al-Mahdi alayhi salam looking for, or who is he looking for. Okay. So these are some of the things. And there are few attributes that we can look at from the companions of Imam Al-Hussein that then can make us realize who should we be taking as companions, whom do we need to hang out with, and how we need to enhance and motivate ourselves so that even though we're not fitting in the norm,
Yeah.
even though we may not be considered among the cool ones,
Because they were the odd ones out.
they were the odd ones. I mean, several people in the camp of Umar ibn Sa'ad, when they captured some of the companions of Imam Al-Hussein alayhi salam on the day of Ashura, because some of them, before they got killed, they were captured. And they would ask them, why are you doing this to yourself? In other words, they are not the ones who are the cool ones. If we may use that term loosely. Why do you guys do this? I mean, why do you guys kill yourselves? And their replies is like, this is what the haqq is. This is where the truth lies.
Yes.
We're working towards our akhirah, not our, temporal life, our eternal life. So and that's why Al-Hajjaj ibn Amr al-Zabidi, one of the commanders of Umar ibn Sa'ad's army, he started scolding his own army and telling them, people, do you know who are you fighting against? These are the heroes. These are the warriors. These are the people who understand what they are fighting for. They have a cause. And you guys have no clue basically what you're doing. And any one of you, he's telling his companions, who will go to fight them individually, they will kill you. So you guys stand no chance in beating them.
Go intense.
So then they changed the strategy. He said, you have to go from a distance. Fight them from distance with arrows and spears and rocks. And that's when Umar ibn Sa'ad said, you're right. We need to change the strategy because otherwise they'll kill the army. So even though they were like 100 or so, but they're so strong on haqq. And when you're on haqq, when you know yourself your truth, you always have that strength, that power. You go in with full force because I am telling the truth, I am right. And maybe even some of you have had this experience when you know you haven't done anything wrong and you get caught, for example, you stand with full, strength and you say, I didn't do it. I did not do this. I am innocent. But if you did something wrong, you were guilty, you'd be less, kind of assertive in your move. These people knew what is haqq and they fought for it. And that's why we also read in the ziyarah of Abu al-Fadl al-Abbas, salamullahi alayh, ashhadu annaka madayta ala basiratin min amrik. That I bear witness that you went to fight with full understanding of what you're fighting for. So let us take some look, inshallah, at some of those companions and how they relate to the companions of Imam Al-Mahdi ajjalallahu ta'ala.
Now, after saying this, one would understand that do we have to be like the companions of Imam Al-Hussein, keeping in mind that Imam Hussein says, Wallah lam ajid abar wa awfa min ashabi, by God I did not find more loyal and more honorable companions like mine. So do we have to be like them in order to support the Imam, or do we just have to possess that, a good enough will? What's the range?
Okay, so we can look at it from two perspectives. First of all, in Ziyarat al-Arbaeen by Jabir ibn Abdullah al-Ansari, radwanullah ta'ala alayh, the companion of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa alayhi, so he's one of the Sahaba. And this Sahabi, this great Sahabi, he comes to visit Imam Al-Hussein alayhi salam around the time of Arbaeen, and he walked to the qabr of Imam Al-Hussein.
The same time.
So in fact, if we may say so, the sunnah of walking to Imam Al-Hussein in Arbaeen was the sunnah of Jabir ibn Abdullah al-Ansari.
Established by Jabir, yes.
And the sunnah of Imam Al-Sajjad, salamullahi alayh. He established it. Our Imams then confirmed and affirmed the sunnah.
Allah.
So Imam Al-Askari says among the characteristics of the mu'min is Ziyarat al-Arbaeen alayhi salam. And our Imams came here. In fact, Imam Al-Sadiq, salamullahi alayh, in one hadith, is among the first people to have these tents. These tents that you see across the road from Najaf to Karbala, serving the mu'mineen, the mawakib, they're serving the mu'mineen with food and water and so on. It may be said that Imam al-Sadiq established one of the first tents in Najaf, and he told his companion, if you can go outside and you'll see some people coming to do ziyarah. So this companion said, I went outside, I waited and waited, it was very hot, and I'm thinking to myself, is there really anyone coming to do ziyarah here at this hot? But then from a distance I saw a person coming on a camel. So I said to him, come with me. One of the children of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa alayhi would like to see you. So he says, one of the children of Rasulullah is here. I would love to meet him. So this man comes. Imam al-Sadiq alayhi salam asks him, where are you coming from? He said, I am coming from Yemen. He said, you came all the way from Yemen. What for? He said, to go to visit the qabr of Abi Abdullah Al-Hussein salamullahi alayhi.
Allah.
He said, do you come with a reason, for a reason? He said, other than visiting him? No other reason. Do you have any other business to do on the way? He said, no business. The only reason I've come is to visit Abi Abdullah Al-Hussein.
Wow.
And Imam said, why do you want to visit him then? He says, because we have a conviction, aqeedah, that when we visit him, our lives in dunya and in akhirah will be the best life.
Allah.
You know, we will have the best khair in ourselves, in our children, in our wealth, and in our akhirah. And the Imam salamullahi alayhi told him, in addition, let me tell you one thing, with every step that you take, there is a hajjah and umrah that Allah will grant you as well. And Imam said, give him all the water he needs, to his companion, give him the water he needs, give him any food he needs, so that he can make his journey to Abi Abdullah Al-Hussein. So it was one of the first mawakib or tent established to serve the zuwar of Abi Abdullah Al-Hussein. So this sunnah is condoned by Ahlul Bayt alayhim as-salam, practiced by Ahlul Bayt alayhim as-salam, and praised by Ahlul Bayt alayhim as-salam. Jabir came, and when he arrived at the grave of Rasulullah, grave of Abi Abdullah Al-Hussein alayhi salam, among the things he said is that we were your partners in what you endured. We participated with you. So his companion Atiyah said to him, Ya Jabir, how could that be? We never actually fought. These people cut their hands cut off, their heads were cut off, they were left, their bodies bled. We did not endure any of this. So how are we their companions and their partners? He said, because I heard my beloved Rasul, the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa alihi, سمعت حبيبي رسول الله صلى الله عليه وآله يقول, saying, whomever loves the action of a group of people, then Allah will make him a partner in their action, a participant among them. And he says, may Allah bear witness, وإني أشهد, and I bear witness, that I agree with that Al-Hussein alayhi salam did, and I love Abi Abdullah Al-Hussein alayhi salam. So we may not be among those companions that died with Abi Abdullah Al-Hussein, but we agree inshallah with what they did, and hence we can inshallah strive to achieve their level. Second thing is in the ziyarah taught by Imam Al-Sadiq alayhi salam, when we do ziyarat al-ashab or al-ansar, assalamu ala awliya illah, towards the end what do we say? We say, فَيَا لَيْتَنَا كُنَّا مَعَكُمْ أو فَيَا لَيْتَنِي كُنْتُ مَعَكُمْ فَأَفُوزَ فَوْزًا عَظِيمًا. I wish I were with you so that I would win the greatest of victories. So we are praying to Allah to be amongst them. Well, if I want to be amongst them, if I want to be like them, then I should study and see what kind of people were those people. You know, if I want to become a successful individual, well, I should read about how people succeeded in a particular path. I'll give you a simple example. When I started doing my PhD, the first thing before I even start doing any research, my supervisor said, you need to go back and study what people have done in this field so that you can build on what they have done. So, and then when we see something that is good, what we try to do, the first thing is to replicate that experiment.
What's your PhD, sorry?
Chemistry. This is in chemistry.
Chemistry PhD.
But regardless, usually do what they call a research, literature research, which is seeing what people have done in the past, and you try to build on what they have done. In experimental, you know, when we do experiments, when we copy an experiment from an individual and then we want to enhance it or modify it, first thing is we say, can we repeat the same experiment here? So we try to do the exact same experiment, follow it to the letter, and we try to repeat it. Once it succeeds, then we start doing other things with the experiment so that we can take it to a different level. So similarly, if I want to become among the companions of Imam Al-Mahdi, Ajjalallah Ta'ala Farajahu Al-Sharif, let me do my literature research. And let me see what others have achieved, the companions of Imam Al-Hussein alayhi salam. So they were among the companions of the Imam. Imam praised them. There's no one like them, etc., etc. Okay, well, I want to be like those people. What do I do? Well, let me read what have they done and try to mimic what they have done, so that, or repeat what they have done, so that inshallah I can take it to the next level and be among the companions of the Imam salamullahi alayhi.
Salamullahi alayhi. I would like to take a short break, but after there's a very interesting story that I would like you to comment on.
Sure.
But that's after the break, inshallah. So, respected viewers, do stay tuned. During the break, you'll inshallah be presented with a report regarding the medical centers that are present in Karbala at the service of the pilgrims of Imam Al-Hussein alayhi salam. So that's during the break, and after the break, we'll continue our discussion. So stay tuned.
Assalamu alaikum, dear viewers, and now with another doctor, Iraqi doctor, Dr. Yas Khdair. He's going to explain to us the situations and the injuries, how many injured people arrive to this point, arrive to this location, and how do they treat them? Assalamu alaikum, doctor. Could you please tell me a statistic about the numbers of injured people, how many injured people you received a day, and how many cases you treat each day?
أولاً السلام عليكم ورحمة الله. Firstly, I want to say I am so happy and proud to be here in, near to Imam Abbas in this holy shrine city, and also help the visitor of Imam Abbas and Imam Hussein alayhum salam. Actually, we have a lot of health workers here. They bring a lot of patients from different countries. Most of the cases actually simple cases like backache, joint pain, chest infection. The traumatized patient involve about 10%. So the bulk of the patient mostly with tonsillitis, chest infection, allergies, and okay. And we give the treatment according to the cases. We have also a lot of dresser and health worker inside help us to deal with these patients.
Deal with these patients. Yeah. Could you please explain to me how Imam Hussein unites us, make us like a one body, unites us despite the fact that we are from different nationalities, that we are from different countries. As for you, you treat people from different nationalities, from different countries, and that is the actual embodiment of human unity through Imam Hussein pilgrimage. Could you please explain to me about that? How do you and your medics, the medics who help you, your nurses, etc., how do you feel that?
As I say, the health worker bring the patient from different countries, and we deal with the patient as a patient, and no difference. We feel no difference between the Iraqis and any people from other countries. We treat as the patient and the visitor. Exactly. The visitor of Imam Abbas.
So basically, Imam Hussein unites us through these
Exactly.
Thank you very much indeed, Dr.
Respected viewers, brothers and sisters, once again, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Welcome to the second part of tonight's episode. Now, before the break, we talked about the importance of taking the companions of the Imams as role models for us in order to able ourselves and to prepare ourselves for the reappearance of our beloved Imam Al-Mahdi. May Allah hasten his reappearance. This was discussed with my honorable guest, Sheikh Usama Al-Atar. Welcome back. How are you, Sheikhna?
Thank you.
Allah yakhalikum, inshallah. Before I do narrate the story, I would like to touch upon one key thing in companionship. Now, the people that an individual sits with, correlates with, associates with, they tend to put him under two categories, or he falls under two categories. Either they are individuals who bring him closer to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, motivate him to do the right thing, or they are individuals who bring him closer to the shaitan and further from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala due to the certain actions that they do. Now, keeping that in mind, before the break we did touch upon the companions of Imam Hussein alayhi salam, and how we should look at them and learn from them in order to be one of the companions of Imam Al-Mahdi alayhi Sharif. Now the story is, there was a scholar who sometimes refuted the idea that Imam Hussein alayhi salam said, Wallah lam ajid abar wa awfa min ashabi, by Allah, I did not find any more loyal, honorable companions like mine. So he said anyone that could have heard the call of Imam Hussein alayhi salam and had love for him, he would have helped the Imam. So in his manam, he went to sleep, he saw the waqat Ashura, the incident of Ashura, and Imam Hussein saying, will there anyone to support me? Hal min nasirin yansuruni? I would like you to comment on this as well. So this scholar goes up and says to the Imam, yes, I am here. The Imam says, I'm going to pray, stand in front of me so the arrows do not hit me. Block the arrows while I'm praying. So the scholar stands, and every time the arrow came, he ducked. It hit the Imam. The next time you said, I'm going to have strong will, he ducked again and hit the Imam. The Imam tapped him on the back and said, Wallah lam ajid abar wa awfa min ashabi. Now the aspect is, and the moral that we get out of this, the companions of Hussein have reached the greatest status, because we find the Imams ransoming their fathers, infallibles, to the companions of Hussein. So the actions of the companions, is it easy? Is it something achievable? Or is it just, that high status, just like the moon? If you don't land on the moon, you land on the stars.
Yeah.
Is it like that?
I think people can achieve the status of
Really?
the companions. Remember, they're not ma'soomeen. They were
They're
not ma'soom.
not, but I mean, a ma'soom ransoming his father, a ma'soom to them?
But they're such of a great status that they should be our inspiration. And we should inspire to become, or aspire to become like them. So we have individuals who Imam Al-Mahdi Al-Muntadhar Ajalallah Ta'ala Farajahu Al-Sharif, according to certain traditions, certain sayings, that the Imam would attend to them. He would invite them even. They would have discourse with him. Well, these individuals, to achieve that kind of a level, it means they really attained the pleasure of the Imam Salamullahi alayh. So it's possible to attain the pleasure of the Imam Salamullahi alayh, and to aspire to become among the companions of Imam Al-Hussein alayhi salam. And in a way, at least let me put in all my efforts. So even if I don't make it to the 100%, at least I can make it the 90%. Okay, and so on and so forth. So it is indeed, one should not give up hope that he or she can indeed become among the companions of the Imam Salamullahi alayhi.
Salamullahi alayhi. Now, since you mentioned the sisters, how can the sisters become among those companions? I mean, we do know, we have, I think, not as many narrations that sisters will have the ability to be among the companions of the Imam Al-Bayt alayhim salam.
Right.
Or Mahdi.
Yes.
Now, due to the multimedia saturated environment that we live in today, is that possible? I mean, because we're so enriched with the media, we're so injected with whatever media feeds us,
yes,
that are we capable of exiting that world and entering this world?
Well, just like it's capable for the men, it is capable for the women.
No, I'm not talking for the sisters. No.
Yes.
I'm not putting a segregation. No, I'm talking about both.
Well, for both of them, yes, indeed. And we have traditions that many of the companions of the leaders in Imam's army, or like among the leaders of the governors, would be ladies, will be women. So on the day of Ashura in Karbala, the women played their roles. Some of them came to fight physically in the battlefield, although Imam Al-Hussein alayhi salam requested them to go back. Some got killed in the battle. Some were supportive of their husbands to go and fight and defend Imam Al-Hussein, or supportive of their children to go and defend Imam Al-Hussein alayhi salam. And therefore their role in Karbala was not any less than that of the men. So women, indeed, they participate, they help, and they are among the companions of the Imam Salamullahi alayhi.
Salamullahi alayhi. Now, there was one question that I received right now, and it's about the narration by Imam Al-Sadiq alayhi salam, where he says, قُلْ لِي مَنْ تُصَاحِبْ أَقُلْ لَكَ مَنْ أَنْتَ. Tell me who you keep as friends, I tell you who you are. Now, technically speaking, they're saying that I have some, not bad friends, but people that don't do whatever is necessary to be done or do something bad. So I'm not like them. So how does this narration fit in?
Well, we want to clarify something. There's a difference between having friendship, companionship with people whom you hang out with all the time, you go out with all the time, versus acquaintances. People who you just come along, you meet along every once in a while. The key criteria is to be an influence on your friends in a positive way and not to be influenced in a negative way. How do we put the standard? Parents are usually a good guard on this. When parents usually see a person actually shifting in his or her manners, attitude, behavior, then usually the alarm is raised. It's like, wait a minute, who are you hanging out with? We see you that, for example, you've now started taking salat lightly, you're not, for example, paying attention as much. What's going on here? And when the parents say this, means, whoa, the alarm is to be raised, means I am actually being influenced in a negative way. So we need, to the best of our ability, hang out with people who are mu'mineen, pious, people who are hardworking, people who strive for the best. Because then, yes, it will reflect on us. Subconsciously, we will be affected by the friends we hang out with. If you hang out with people who constantly talk about cars, inevitably, you will start talking about cars. Fashion, you'll start talking about fashion, etc., etc. And if they talk about religion, you'll start talking about religion.
Yes.
That's why it's called mujalasatul ulama'i ibadah. Sitting down with the ulama is ibadah. Why? Because the ulama, the scholars, what do they discuss amongst each other? Hadith. They discuss, for example, merits of Ahlul Bayt. So and the way they talk too, you see how the ulama talk, you will start talking like them, behaving like them, acting like them, and that is ibadah.
So I would like you to comment or try to tell us the 28th verse found in the 25th Quranic chapter, which states, Ya laytani lam attakhudh fulanan khalila. Now, some scholars have come forth, translated it as a companion, translated it as something else. Now, what's the reason behind this? I know the previous verse, the 27th verse, it says the wrongdoers will bite on their hand.
Yep.
I wish that I've taken the Prophet as my guide, as my companion.
That's right.
وَلَمْ أَتَّخِذْ فُلَانًا خَلِيلًا.
Correct.
Now, taking a Prophet as a companion, the Prophet is 1400 years old.
Well, يا ليتني اتخذت مع الرسول سبيلا. So I wish I have followed the path of the Prophet.
Of the Prophet.
In essence, following the path of the Prophet, the Ahlul Bayt alayhim as-salam, because فَكَانُوا هُمُ السَّبِيلَ إِلَيْكَ وَالْمَسْلَكَ إِلَىٰ رِضْوَانِكَ. That قُلْ لَا أَسْأَلُكُمْ عَلَيْهِ أَجْرًا. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, I don't ask you for a reward, but إِلَّا مَنْ شَاءَ أَنْ يَتَّخِذَ
إِلَىٰ رَبِّهِ
سَبِيلًا.
سبيلا.
That anyone who wants to take the sabil, فَكَانُوا هُمُ السَّبِيلَ إِلَيْكَ. So they are the sabil.
Allah, yes.
The path to so Ahlul Bayt are the path to Rasulullah, the path to Allah. اهدنا الصراط المستقيم. Okay, so the idea is we would wish that we were on the path of Ahlul Bayt alayhim as-salam. We would have followed their footsteps, even though it may appear that I'll have to dress in a way. Of course, I'm not saying dressing like this, but in a way that is modest.
Yes,
Even though, and some people were saying, that would make me look uncool. Because everyone else is wearing whatever they're wearing, so I would look odd. I'm not saying look odd necessarily, but look modest.
Yes.
Okay, and looking modest does not necessarily translate as looking odd. Okay, the way that we talk, our attitudes, our manners, our language, the way we use social media, let it be in a way that is of Allah's obedience, the path of Ahlul Bayt, as opposed to trying to be cool Because yes, that day of judgment when it comes and the person will start biting on his hands, now that could be literal, or the fingers literally, or it could be that, you know what, it's figurative in the sense that, my gosh, you know, they're feeling so regretful. I wish I did not listen to this person when they told me, no, dress like this because it looks cool. Let's go to these places because that's where the cool people hang out.
Yes.
Let's do these things because this is what cool people do. But rather, I would have used my mind a little bit and followed what pleases Allah and Ahlul Bayt alayhim as-salam.
Alayhim as-salam.
And another ayah, by the way, in
Yes.
Surah Al-Saffat, Allah also mentions another example where a person asks Allah, Ya Allah, I had a companion who he used to tell me, what do you mean you believe in Allah and all this nonsense? You know, what do you mean God and whatever? It's all evolution. Forget about all these things, you know.
Nice.
Okay. And on the day of judgment, this person in Jannah will say, Ya Allah, what happened to this guy? You know, what happened to my friend? You know, this is in Surah Al-Saffat.
Yes.
فَاطَّلَعَ عَلَيْهِ. You know, Allah gives him the permission, and then he will find him in Jahannam. So they start having a discourse, a conversation, the one in Jannah and the one in Jahannam. He says, I'm glad I did not listen to you. Look at where I am right now and look where you are. Okay? So yes, it's sometimes difficult, like some of the individuals and our viewers were saying yesterday. It's difficult if I want to follow the path of Ahlul Bayt. It makes me look odd. I don't fit in, and so on and so forth. First of all, I say that's not necessarily true. You can fit in through your character. You can fit in through your manners. You can fit in through following the path of Ahlul Bayt alayhim as-salam. But doing so is what gains the pleasure of Allah and Ahlul Bayt, and your eternal comfort and inner peace.
Now, speaking of this, I just got a question about modesty in yesterday's topic. If you can answer it, and then we'll go back to discussion. It's how long should the dress code?
For who? Brothers or
course.
sisters?
Ladies.
For sisters, I mean, long enough to cover the ankles, and according to many
Ankles or knees?
no, ankles.
Ankles.
I mean, the ankles should be covered again.
Well, covered. I mean, like how long though? Because pants do cover the ankles.
Oh, okay. So a person saying how long? I mean, okay. So let us rephrase the answer then. Hold on. We said last night the criteria is to cover the whole body with loose attire. Of course, the hijab cannot be loose, but I mean the whole body with the exception of the face and the hands up to the wrist. The whole body must be covered. The attire, the clothes that we wear should be loose, that they don't reveal the figure of the individual. Now, whether how long, how short, all that, as long as it fits this criteria, where the body is covered, the figure is not revealed, and according to many of the fuqaha, socks must also be worn.
Yes.
So the feet must also be covered, and therefore, if it fits this criteria, that's a hijab al-shar'i. Okay, so we're not here to say how long will the dress be, how short it could be, and so on and so forth. As if it fits this criteria, that is what's acceptable.
Inshallah. So get that out of the way for today, inshallah. So companions, and that actually does have to play. Modesty plays a very crucial role within companionship as well, because we're talking about influence, and the individuals that you associate with either influences you or you influence them,
Right.
and becoming better individuals or worse individuals. But Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He states in chapter 18 verse 13, He says, إِنَّهُمْ فِتْيَةٌ آمَنُوا بِرَبِّهِمْ وَزِدْنَاهُمْ هُدًى. Now He's talking about youth. Now somewhat we should be inspired by this, is that we have to have the will of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in order for Him to move us forward or shifts us to the next level. So they had to have will in Allah, or they had to have their strong faith in Allah in order for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to guide them and to give them guidance. Now, could this be applied to us as well? Like, we do have faith in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, but is that faith enough for us to be guided and becoming a companion of the Imam?
The faith is dynamic, it's not static. And what we mean by that, it changes. Some people, some days are at a higher level of faith, and
Yes.
sometimes they go through a cycle of, the lower faith. Some people have a lot higher faith, some people have a lot lower faith. Some people pray, fast, no problem. Some people don't even pray and fast, wal-'iyadhu billah. But they say, I believe in Allah and Ahlul Bayt. I attend, for example, majalis of Imam Al-Hussein. When it comes to salat and siyam, nothing much is done, unfortunately.
I've heard, sorry to cut you off, I've heard as long as I love Imam Ali and Ahl Bayt, prayer is okay.
This contradicts the Quran. Allah says, الَّذِينَ آمَنُوا وَعَمِلُوا الصَّالِحَاتِ. You have to believe and have عمل الصالح. عمل الصالح is
Loving Ahl Bayt.
salat, siyam. Yes, loving Ahlul Bayt, that's iman.
Is it enough?
I believe in Ahlul Bayt, I believe in Allah, I believe in the Quran, but that's not going to be enough because there's amal salih that's required. I need amal salih. What is amal salih? Praying, fasting, paying khums, going for hajj, wearing the hijab, etc. All this is amal salih. So people who argue that iman is in the heart, as long as in my heart, who are you to judge me?
Yes.
We say, first of all, that argument of who are you to judge me contradicts the Quran, because Allah says, Amr bil ma'ruf wa nahu anil munkar. Those who command the good, enjoy the good, and forbid the evil. So it is our obligation and duty to remind people of what is ma'ruf and what is munkar, what is right and what is wrong. So don't tell me, don't judge me, who are you to judge me? We're not judging you, but we're telling you what is right and what is wrong. And this is an obligation. That is the obligation of the prophets and the awsiya and the ulama of today. Okay. The second thing is, iman is not only in the heart. You got to show it on your actions, or in your actions. So we have to believe in this. And that's what takes me really to a very important point, and that's looking at the companions of Imam Al-Hussein alayhi salam. Okay. So we want to love Imam Ali and Imam Hussein in a way that he loves us back. So in a way that he appreciates us, in a way that he will be proud of us. Okay. Well, what do we know? For example, look at the companions of the Imam Salamullahi alayh, Imam Al-Hussein. On the day of Ashura, we have, for example, one of his companions, Abu Thumama As-Sa'idi, who came in the middle of the battle, and he says, Ya ibn Rasulullah, there is nothing more beloved to me than to die in your path. However, I would love to do so having prayed the salat, and I'm seeing that the time is approaching, looking at the sun. Imam Al-Hussein says, ذكرت الصلاة جعلك الله من المصلين. You remembered salah, may Allah make you among those who established the salat. Imam Hussein did not need Abu Thumama to remind him the time of salat is coming. But Imam Hussein wanted to show us, look at my companions. In the midst of the battle, this is intense. They're not sitting down watching television or playing video games and say, you know what, I'll pray later. Or they're busy shopping, or they're busy with excuses that I'm at school, I'm at work, and they delay their salat for whatever reason. They're in a battle which is qurbatan ilallahi ta'ala, one of the greatest action they're doing, and yet even then they say we remember salat, because that's a habit. It's a habit that they developed to pray salat on time. We need to pray salat on time. Imam Al-Mahdi alayhi salam, ajjalallahu ta'ala farajahu al-sharif, want people who pray salat on time. Look at, for example, Burayr ibn Khudair, recitation of Quran. How many of us actually are reciters of the Quran, are teachers of the Quran? Burayr ibn Khudair al-Hamdani was one of the shuyukh al-Qurra fil Kufa, the master of the reciters, of the teachers of Quran in Kufa. And he was one of the companions of the Imam Salamullahi alayhi. How many of us teach Quran, understand Quran, read the Quran? Imam Rida alayhi salam says, try to read at least 50 verses, 50 per day, every day. So these were people who recited the Quran, people who prayed salat on time, not only recited, understood the Quran. On the day of Ashura, when Imam Hussein alayhi salam was giving his lecture, his sermon, Shimr stands and says, we don't understand what you're saying, Ibn Fatima, we don't get you. And Habib replied and said, I agree, I concur with you. You don't understand a word of what he says. إنك تعبد الله على 70 حرف. You worship Allah with no understanding, basically. You don't have a clue of what you're reading in the Quran. Even though some of those people who killed Imam Al-Hussein were memorizers of the Quran. They had the Quran memorized. There were people who prayed the salat, but they had no clue, no understanding of what they are doing. And hence, the companions of the Imam Salamullah alayhi were people who not only read the Quran, they understood the Quran. So these are two important attributes or characteristics of the companions of the Imam that we can also implement.
Sorry, Sheikh, to cut you off, but respected viewers, we do apologize for the background noises that are coming from outside. But the lovers of Imam Al-Hussein are lamenting or circulating the holy shrine of Imam Hussein and his beloved brother Abul Fadl Abbas alayhi salam. And you can see you can hear the drums, you can hear the noises, the loud noises. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala make you one of these pilgrims to come to Karbala inshallah one day. But two attributes we were talking about so far.
The third attribute, which is very important, and I want my viewers to concentrate on this one, please, is the love to Ahlul Bayt alayhim as-salam. Love, mawaddah. Some of those companions, they really loved Abi Abdullah al-Hussein. You see all these millions of people on the screen that you're seeing right there. They have love to Abi Abdullah al-Hussein. They are coming to Imam al-Hussein saying, Labbayka ya Hussein. We are responding to your call. When you called, Hal min nasirin yansuruna? Is there anyone to support us? Anyone to help us? They love Abi Abdullah al-Hussein. John, for example, John, who was an African slave freed many years ago, and he continued to serve Ahlul Bayt alayhim as-salam. Imam al-Hussein told him, John, why don't you leave us? He said, Ya Ibn Rasulillah, I would never leave you. Please, please give me the honor of sacrificing for you. Now that's an interesting thing. They see Imam al-Hussein and defending for him as a favor. It's not like I'm doing you a favor, I'm defending for you, I'm gonna die saving your life. No, 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 you're doing me a favor in making me part of your companions, Ya Aba Abdullah. Is this the way we engage with Abi Abdullah al-Hussein? When coming to his ziyarah, we should realize he's done us a favor to come for his ziyarah.
Allah.
So I really have to be a really submissive servant to Abi Abdullah al-Hussein, like John was.
Speaking of that, today when I was in Najaf, with my brothers Sheikh Muntadhar and Hussein Sukhni at pole 1, 2, 3, 4. There was...
And they're wonderful brothers, by the way.
Sorry?
They're wonderful brothers.
Wonderful brothers. Wonderful team
Absolutely.
over there. Alhamdulillah that we have such individuals. But the people that were handing out food, he says, please do me a favor. May I be ransomed to your mother and father, eat from my food.
Right.
They go to that extent.
See, these are the lovers of Imam Hussein. So when they're serving you food, they're serving you, they're helping you out. As you are using their services, you're doing them a favor.
Wow.
That's how they view it.
Wow.
This is the characteristic we need to have, brothers and sisters. Being followers of Ahlul Bayt, it is really their favor that Allah has blessed upon us, that we are their followers. But we need to be submissive to them.
Yes.
We need to realize that if I love Abi Abd, what does it mean when I say I love someone? When you love someone, it means you listen to him or to her. You do what he or she is pleased with. You don't do the opposite. So the way that I talk, the way I behave, the way I act, the way I pray, the way I fast, has to be all ways that the Imam is pleased with. And this is my way of showing my gratitude to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. This is how the companions of Imam al-Hussein were on the day of Ashura. Each one of them comes and stands before the Imam saying, Ya Ibn Rasulillah, do you give me permission to fight before you? A young boy, about 11, 12 years old, whose father was killed in the battle, comes to the Imam salamullahi alayh, and he says, Ya Ibn Rasulillah, give me the permission to fight. He looks at the young man, he says, this is a young boy. His father was just killed in the battle. Maybe his mother wants him. She needs him. She may not give him permission to come to defend. He looked at the Imam salamullah alayhi and said, Ya Ibn Rasulullah, my mother was the one who actually sent me to fight for you.
Allah.
She gave me the sword. She told me, go and make me proud in front of Fatima alayhi salam. So you also give me the honor. And this 11-year-old Imam give him permission. He goes, gives him permission. He goes and he says, Amiri Husaynun wa ni'mal Amir. My master is Hussein, and what a great master he is. Sururu fu'ad al-Bashir al-Nadir. He is the joy of the heart of the Holy Prophet, the Messenger of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So look at, he's coming, and this is an 11-year-old boy, 12-year-old boy. He's coming with so much love to Abi Abdullah al-Hussein. You know, this is what he's been raised with. and he became one of the shuhada whom we today do his ziyarah and say, Bi Abi Anta wa Ummi. This 11-year-old boy is one of them. So we want to be like this. We want to love Abi Abdullah like this. How much do you love Abi Abdullah al-Hussein? How much do I love Abi Abdullah al-Hussein? So I cannot sacrifice a dress of modesty so that I can show my love to Abi Abdullah al-Hussein. I cannot sacrifice my words, the bad words, and start using common words, ordinary words, a proper, respectful language for Abi Abdullah al-Hussein. Are you telling me I cannot live as a companion of Abi Abdullah al-Hussein in this day and age? Then let me start to change. All of you, my dear viewers, all of us love Abi Abdullah. I guarantee. That's why you're watching the channel of Imam Al-Hussein alayhi salam.
Yes.
That's why all these millions of people you see out there love Abi Abdullah al-Hussein alayhi salam. We want to take that love to the next level. So you're there, alhamdulillah, all of you who are watching, who are followers of Ahlul Bayt, are lovers of Ahlul Bayt. You want to now take it to the next notch, next level. Now that I love them, what can I do such that I make them proud of me? I please them, because their pleasure is the pleasure of Allah.
Yes.
That's what we want. So let me take care of my salat, let me take care of my fasting, let me take care of my rituals and deeds, my clothes of dress of modesty. Let me take care of my manners and my attitude, the way we talk to our parents. The parents, look at Karbala, how respectful the children were to their parents. Ali al-Akbar to his father, Qasim to his mother and to his uncle. Even this young boy, 11-year-old I'm talking about, his mother sends him, and he obeys his mother and he comes. He doesn't say, come on mom, I want to enjoy my life, I want to do this. These days, unfortunately, this is our attitudes with our parents. We really need to change. Let's change. So let's take it to the next level, inshallah.
Inshallah. Hopefully we can, because if we do abide by the teachings of Ahlul Bayt and abide by the laws which Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given us, we may be able to change our habits. But speaking of manners and speaking of parents, now some individuals that I've come across, they tend to joke around with their parents. And I tried it once and didn't get the same result. But their joke is something different. So is joking, and it did affect me, I mean the people that, but is joking with parents okay, or?
It depends to what level you take it.
Yeah.
Okay, so
Well, no, not hitting, of course.
No.
Yeah.
Even joking. Sometimes, unfortunately, even sometimes us, when we talk about joking, you find a couple of friends even, leave alone parents. Some friends think if I insult my friend, that's a joke. And that's not joking.
Yeah.
If I tease my friend and make other people laugh about him, that's a joke, It's, I'm just joking. You're bullying. You're not joking sometimes. It's called bullying. And the friend is not happy about it. But sometimes he keeps quiet. So really have to really understand, when we joke, it's good to joke. We're not saying don't joke, don't be like a person who just keeps on frowning and that's it. Rather, the hadith says, Al-mu'minu bishruhu fi wajhih, that he's always smiling. When you look at his face, he's got a smiling, pleasant looking face. And interestingly, on the day of Ashura, Burair was seen joking with a friend of his. So his friend told him, his companion said, this is not the time of batil, talking about falsehood. He said, my tribe knows me. My tribe knows me that I never speak of vanity, of batil, falsehood. But this is the time when we feel rejoiced, because in about an hour's time, we're going to be in Jannah next to Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa alayhi. Don't you think this is the best time to be cheering? I mean, this is a great moment for us. We're going to be in Jannah shortly. So when he jokes, when the companions joke, they joke with respect. They joke with the truth. It is narrated one day a lady came to the Prophet, an older lady, to the Prophet ﷺ, and she said, Ya Rasulullah, pray to me that I go to Jannah. He looked at her and he said, but there will be no old people entering Jannah. No person who's going to be entering Jannah who's going to be old. So the lady started crying. I'm not going to go to Jannah. I will not make it there. He said, the Prophet smiled and he said, that's not what I'm saying. I'm saying that when you enter Jannah, you'll be youth again, inshaAllah. You know, so because no one will enter Jannah as an old
as an
person.
old person.
You'll be a youth.
Yes.
So then, you know, it was a kind of a smiling thing. So the Prophet had a cheerful spirit, a humorous spirit, if we may say it, in a humor, but in a positive, truthful context.
In a modest way.
In a modest way, in a way that, you know, attracts people's, you know, love.
Yes.
You know, that's the kind of humor, that's the kind of fun spirit, if we may say that. Not humor, God forbid, in an insulting way, God forbid, in a haram way, God forbid, in a falsifying facts, or like a knock-knock joke, you know, kind of thing. You know, it's not one of those kind of humor, but rather in a really truthful, humble, modest way.
What's wrong with knock-knock jokes?
What's wrong with knock-knock jokes? Well, you know, it's not the Prophet's style of joke.
Oh,
The
okay.
Prophet would not do knock-knock. You know, that's what I'm not saying there's a problem with them.
But you just mentioned something that I'm going to ask you about it.
Sure.
The Prophet didn't do a lot of things. I mean, he didn't drive, he didn't do anything. You know what I mean?
He rode camels.
He rode camels.
Well, that's driving. Back on these days, you know, that's considered
Well,
driving.
that was their whip? No, but I mean, he didn't do a lot of things. I mean, even in our times today, we do a lot of things that the Prophet didn't do. We
Right.
see terrorists saying, you know, back in the day, they used to get, they take the people that hand out cold water, and they say, during the Prophet's time, there was no ice. How are you handing out ice? You know what I mean? So,
that individuals, people who say this, they're individuals who don't absolutely understand history or Islam at all. Obviously, I mean, today we have cars. Can we drive a car? And you find these terrorists driving cars.
Yeah.
Say, well, you know what? For God's sake, yes, the Prophet rode a camel. I mean, so it's a mean of transportation.
Yeah.
Today the means have changed.
Advanced,
so I can use this. So in essence, we really need to basically focus on the companions of Ahlul Bayt alayhim salam, companions of Imam Al-Hussein, and praying salat on time, reciting and understanding the Quran, loving Ahlul Bayt, and having the greatest of manners.
Inshallah.
These are attributes that Imam Salamullah Ali Al-Mahdi Ajjalallah Ta'ala Farjah Al-Sharif is looking for. And my brothers, we can pray, recite dua Makarim Al-Akhlaq, and pray to Allah to make us among the sincere companions and lovers and followers of Ahlul Bayt, such that we achieve their pleasure, inshallah, and their shafa'ah in dunya, and the qabr, and in the akhirah.
Inshallah. I would like to thank you very much, Shaykhana, for joining us tonight for the wonderful topics you have prepared. Respected viewers, thank you very much for tuning in. If you do have any questions regarding today's topic, you can inbox us at our Facebook page at Imam Hussein 3TV, or comment on the news feed. And don't go away, for we will inshallah be joined by Brother Shabir Tijani, who will join us in a couple of minutes. So do stay tuned. Thank you very much, Shaykhna. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala bless you and continue visiting Karbala, inshallah. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Inshallah.
Assalamu alaikum, brothers and sisters. Welcome to the holy shrine of Imam Hussein. Welcome to the actual paradise where millions of people are coming to perform the pilgrimage rituals at this very particular place, at this paradise. Alhamdulillah, it is an actual blessing from God. It is an actual miracle that a small city such as the holy city of Karbala could receive so many millions, tens of millions of pilgrims to treat them, and to treat them with much of hospitality, to provide shelter, food, drinks, and other types of services, including medical service. Brothers and sisters, at a time we had a talk with Mr. Muhammad, who explained to us the numbers of doctors and medics, nurses, pharmacists, and the medications, everything they provide to Imam Hussein pilgrims. At the moment, we are at the actual medical site inside the walls of Imam Abbas Holy Shrine, where the actual services are being provided to the pilgrims. Brothers and sisters, the numbers of pilgrims being received by these medical sites, approximately they receive 150 patients. Not all the patients with serious injuries, Most of them have simple symptoms such as flu, cold, and some of them has a muscle pain, joint pain, etc. From those regular symptoms that are being caused by exhaustion. Many pilgrims come on feet to perform the pilgrimage rituals. Many of them have a simple symptoms that are being treated at this place. Others, people with serious injuries such as the fractions and suffocation, if the patient could not respond in 5 minutes, this medical site will transport the patient to another medical center such as Safir Hospital, which is available in the city center, which is available nearby the holy shrines of Imam Hussein and his brother Al-Abbas, peace be upon them. Also, serious injuries and long monitoring injuries should be and always be transferred to hospitals. Also, there is a hospital, Al-Husseini Hospital, which is available in a different site. Pilgrims are being transferred by ambulances. In addition to that, the number of pilgrims, the number of patients increases every day. You see, at yesterday, the doctor said that yesterday they received 150 pilgrims, but today they received twice time the number of pilgrims. They received about 200 pilgrims today, and tomorrow they will receive more and more until we witness the Arbaeen day, the 40th day after the martyrdom of Imam Hussein. Brothers and sisters, stay more to get to know more details and further indications from the medics and doctors. Stay tuned, brothers and sisters. Assalamu alaikum, brothers and sisters. Welcome from Imam Abbas Holy Shrine, from the actual paradise, where, as you can see behind me, the medics are helping the pilgrims to get better, injured pilgrims to get better, to fix, to treat their injuries in different ways. I have here my brother from Pakistan. He's gonna explain further details about the treatment and about the numbers of pilgrims who were injured and transferred right here. Assalamu alaikum, dear brother. Could you please tell me how many pilgrims, how many injured pilgrims you received a day?
It's about in hundreds of pilgrims that we receive in a day. A lot of people get injured because there's a lot of crowd inside the haram, so a lot of people just go in there and they get suffocated, and they're brought by our medical staff is working inside on a stretcher, and it's basically simple suffocation and vasovagal shock, so they do not need any specific treatment. But some of them do get really badly injured, such as a fracture or a rib fracture or fractured foot or something like that. These people need to be taken to the hospital and for further management. A few of them who are not injured inside, a lot of these people who are just walking from Najaf all the way to Karbala, a lot of them come with back pain and pain in their muscles and all the joints as well. So we just treat them as an OPD basis, give them a few muscle relaxants and a few painkillers, so just to help them with that problem. And a lot of people are also coming up with flu because it's overcrowded, so it's very chances that viral illnesses would spread. And a lot of people are coming with flu as well. So we're just treating these two as OPD patients and a few emergencies as well.
How long does it take to treat each pilgrim, as a moderator? And what are how can you decide whether the injured is okay to be treated here or to be transferred to a nearby hospital?
Initially, all the patients are brought in. We just have to assess and triage them. Initially, we just check their pulse, the blood pressure, and the sugar if necessary. And then we just move on to and see the vital signs of the patient in addition to that. And then if the patient is suffocated and is a lack of oxygen or in vasovagal shock, then it just wakes up in 5-10 minutes. If he doesn't respond in 5 minutes, then we'll have to shift him to the hospital for further care and further management. And if you see anything very drastically abnormal in the initial vital signs such as very low blood pressure or very high pulse or very low sugar levels, then we might need to transfer that patient to the hospital at the first within few minutes. Here we have a ambulance service which just arrives in a couple of minutes, and the patient can be easily shifted to Hospital Sheikh Hussein in about like less than 5 minutes.
For that. But welcome. It's good to see you again. I know I saw you in Muharram. It's good to see you once again. Now, with everything that's going on in Arbaeen, I know you arrived yesterday, you were saying.
Yes.
And it's amazing to see how many people are actually walking to Karbala.
Absolutely,
It's
absolutely.
huge.
It's immense. I think there's no march or no walk like this anywhere else on the planet, the records say. And also, I mean, you just have to look out in Bayn al-Haramain around Karbala.
Yeah.
There is no place to even step foot. So,
Yes, that's true.
You know, alhamdulillah, yesterday we landed in Baghdad, and we had to walk the last sort of third of our journey because there wasn't any way that the cars could pass. So we took our luggage and we walked the last 20 kilometers, and alhamdulillah, I got here around 5 a.m. This morning, in the early hours of the morning.
MashaAllah, it's a blessing. As long as you get to walk.
Yes.
I mean, even if that, last 10 steps.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Although
absolutely.
there's more than 10 steps that you take.
Absolutely.
But even though the one step you take to Hussein alayhi salam, you see Hussein running towards you.
It's amazing.
It's amazing.
It's a different feel altogether.
It is. But what have you prepared for us tonight?
So I've got a couple of poems. They have some relation to the walk. One is called I Will Come Crawling to You, Hussein.
Yes.
And the other one is called On Our Way. That's talking about the journey itself, and I Will Come Crawling to You, Hussein is the emotions that one would have as they set out and begin the journey towards Karbala.
Yes. So, Bismillah.
Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad.
Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad.
Every day it cuts me inside. I'm so very far from your side. I would give away these eyes just to catch a glimpse of your shrine. If I have to cross the seas and every desert in between, I will come crawling to you, Hussein. I will come crawling to you, Hussein. They can cut my arms and my legs. They can take everything that I have. I will come crawling to you, Hussein. I can tell you that I'm insane in the love of my master Hussein. In this universe there's no pain that can ever keep me away. Every inch that I come your way, every beat of my heart will say, I will come crawling to you, Hussein. I will come crawling to you, Hussein. And the next verse talks about the way that the world actually views and perceives the lovers of Hussein, especially the people that are against our methodology, our ideology, and our practices. You just have to look at this world and you see your lovers are tortured and hurt. They can use their tanks and their guns. We will stand together as one. They can tear us limb from limb, but our soul will save from within. I will come crawling to you, Hussein. I will come crawling to you, Hussein. They can point a gun to my head. They can threaten to shoot me dead. They can wound me till I'm red. They can try to kill me and yet with my every remaining breath, with every ounce of strength I possess, I will come crawling to you, Hussein. I will come crawling to you, Hussein. The next verse, we're going to talk about when we come to Karbala and we come to visit Imam Al-Hussein alayhi salam, we have a lot of wishes in our hearts.
Yes.
But with them we also come with a lot of, not complaints, but with a lot of distress in our hearts as well. We have a lot of things that happen in our lives for which we forbear a lot of pain. And when we come here, especially when we've walked with our distance, we've got that anguish, that pain, the burning limbs, the aching joints. The first thing we do is just pour our heart out to Imam Hussein.
Yes.
We say to Imam Hussein, this is now my state, O Hussein. I am so overwhelmed with pain. Who can I turn to and explain all the grief that my heart now contains? Who can I now call for help? Pinning all my hopes on yourself, I will come crawling to you, Hussein. I will come crawling to you, Hussein. And finally, when it is said that when one goes to visit Imam Al-Hussein alayhi salam, the debt of that visitation is never kept. And when a mu'min breathes their final, when they're about to pass away from the world, it is said that the Ahlul Bayt visit them, and amongst them Imam Hussein also visits them. And we say to Imam Hussein alayhi salam, we say, they say when you breathe your last, you recall your entire past. When my life flashes past so fast, I pray that in my final gasp, death will be the sweetest taste. When I see your radiant face, I will come crawling to you, Hussein. They can cut my arms and my legs, they can take everything that I have. I will come crawling to you, Hussein. I will come crawling to you, Hussein.
I will come crawling to you, Hussein. The bits that I got out of that were, it's kind of mentioning what history has, or what the march has faced through history, the tanks,
Absolutely.
the guns, you know, tearing up in the body. We do see that from the time of Saddam, even before that. The Abbasids, they tried to stop the march, they failed. Saddam tried to stop the march with the tanks, with putting guns to people's heads, tried to stop them. He couldn't. Suicide bombers even couldn't stop the march to Islam. Alhamdulillah, it will never stop.
Inshallah.
And year after year, we see increasing.
You just have to look outside.
All you have to do is look outside.
Absolutely.
And to take the next step, all you have to do is book your ticket and to come to Karbala.
Inshallah, we pray that all the viewers at home who wish to be the Zawar of Imam Al-Hussein alayhi salam, they just make the niyyah, make the intention, and before you know it, you'll be here in this blessed land. And all I can say is that a few, not even months ago, a few weeks ago, I didn't know I was coming, and alhamdulillah, I had the opportunity to come for Ashura, and I've had the opportunity to come again. And really, it's true that, you know, up until 2 years ago, I'd never been to Karbala, and now in 2 years, I've been 7 times.
Wow.
So really,
it's a blessing. When you get invited, the invitation will never stop.
Inshallah. And
Inshallah.
the visitation of Imam Hussein will never stop until the Day of Judgment.
Inshallah, inshallah. Especially as you mentioned, if you have that intention of visiting Imam Hussein, then you will always, Imam Hussein will always invite you.
True.
You've always got to keep that in your heart.
And often we hear people, when they're talking about the ziyarah, they complain, they say, Imam Hussein doesn't call me, I want to see Imam Hussein. One thing you have to realize is that Imam Hussein wants to see you as much as you want to see him. It is said that the love that the Ahlul Bayt have for their believers, their mu'mineen, their Shi'as, will always outweigh the love that the Shi'as have for the Ahlul Bayt. So the Imam loves you more than you even love the Imam. So it's said that you will be called and you will visit the shrine of the Imam alayhi salam when the time is right for you, when the call comes from the Imam. All you have to do, like he said, is do the niyyah and say labbaik ya Hussein.
Labbaik ya Hussein, and that's one of the key things. But moving on to the intentions part and the feelings part, I would like to ask you about your feelings after walking. I know in your poem you said walking miles away, and when you get to the shrine, you know, you would give your eyes away just to, you know, open your heart to Hussein alayhi salam. What were your feelings when you, upon seeing the dome from distance?
So the interesting thing is when you're walking towards Karbala, the only thing that keeps you going is this yearning, this kind of desire and this wish to see the shrine of Imam Hussein. And that is the thing I remember that some of the people that were walking this, they had blisters on their feet, and they were old. Some of them had arthritis, back problems, sciatica, all these problems. And on the way, you could see them limping but struggling to walk. But every time you would speak to them, they would say, you know, we just want to get to the shrine, we just want to see that dome, and we can then just rest, you know, have our hearts in peace. And that is the thing, you have that desire to see the dome every step that you take. And when you finally see the dome, the feeling is something completely different. I mean, I've come to Karbala by coach, in Sha'aban when it's, you know, the wiladat of Imam Hussein, in Ashura when it's the martyrdom of Imam Hussein. But this feeling is something completely different altogether. It's just that kind of, you know, when you're in that state of exhaustion, that state where you feel broken physically inside, and suddenly that kind of, that recharge of your soul, that spiritual recharge. Some of them had arthritis, back problems, sciatica, all these problems. And on the way, you could see them limping but struggling to walk. But every time you would speak to them, they would say, you know, we just want to get to the shrine, we just want to see that dome, and we can then just rest, you know, have our hearts in peace. And that is the thing, you have that desire to see the dome every step that you take. And when you finally see the dome, the feeling is something completely different. I mean, I've come to Karbala by coach, in Sha'aban when it's, you know, the wiladat of Imam Hussein, in Ashura when it's the martyrdom of Imam Hussein. But this feeling is something completely different altogether. It's just that kind of, you know, when you're in that state of exhaustion, that state where you feel broken physically inside, and suddenly that kind of, that recharge of your soul, that spiritual recharge that you get just from seeing the dome is something else.
Is way something else. And I experienced that today when I was walking. The people that were walking alongside the road, there was one road that leads you straight to Abu al-Fadl Abbas, and you see the dome, the minarets perfectly. And as soon as you turn, there's a small turn that you turn, and the dome and the minarets are in front of you. And the pilgrims that have been walking miles and miles away, they just went off. They just broke down onto their knees, yelling, Ya Abbas, Ya Abu al-Fadl, Labbaik Ya Abu al-Fadl. It was amazing. Amazing. But what else do you have for us?
So I have this poem that we wrote this year. It's called On Our Way. And this is ironically before we even knew that we were coming to Karbala at all. So first Ashura, for Ashura and for Arbaeen. So I think that this is one of the reasons why we got called, is because that wish was always, that near was there. We just wrote it in poetical form, and Imam called us. So inshallah we'll start with the salawat. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ala Muhammad. Karbala, we are on our way to you, Ya Hussein. We want to see your dome soon, walking upon the angels' wings, leaving behind everything. 75 kilometers on our way to the King of Kings. Our soul is filled, the stars shine on us from above. The air is filled with so much love. This is our call to everyone. Raise up your hands and say as one, Labbaik Ya Hussein. Karbala, we are on our way to you, Ya Hussein. We want to see your dome soon. And as I was saying, the old and frail children are here, walking this road without a fear. We shout and call out Ya Hussein, beating our chest and shedding tears. So what if we're threatened with death? We'll call his name with every breath. This is our call to everyone. Raise up your hands and say as one, Labbaik Ya Hussein. Karbala, we are on our way to you, Ya Hussein. Some of them had arthritis, back problems, sciatica, all these problems. And on the way you could see them limping but struggling to walk. But every time some of them had arthritis, back problems, sciatica, all these problems. And on the way you could see them limping but struggling to walk. But every time you would speak to them, they would say, you know, we just want to get to the shrine, we just want to see that dome. And we can then just rest, you know, have our hearts in peace. And that is the thing, you have that desire to see the dome every step that you take. And when you finally see the dome, the feeling is something completely different. I mean, I've come to Karbala by coach, in Sha'aban when it's, you know, the wiladat of Imam Hussein, in Ashura when it's the martyrdom of Imam Hussein. But this feeling is something completely different altogether. It's just that kind of, you know, when you're in that state of exhaustion, that state where you feel broken physically inside, and suddenly that kind of, that recharge of your soul, that spiritual recharge that you get just from seeing the dome is something else.
Is way something else. And I experienced that today when I was walking. The people that were walking alongside the road, there was one road that leads you straight to Abu al-Fadl Abbas. And you see the dome, the minarets perfectly. And as soon as you turn, there's a small turn that you turn, and the dome and the minarets are in front of you. And the pilgrims that have been walking miles and miles away, they just went off. They just broke down onto their knees, yelling, Ya Abbas, Ya Abu al-Fadl, Labbaik Ya Abu al-Fadl. It was amazing. Amazing. But what else do you have for us?
So I have this poem that we wrote this year. It's called On Our Way. And this is ironically before we even knew that we were coming to Karbala at all. So first Ashura, for Ashura and for Arbaeen. So I think that this is one of the reasons why we got called, is because that wish was always, that near was there. We just wrote it in poetical form, and Imam called us. So inshallah we'll start with the salawat. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ala Muhammad. Karbala, we are on our way to you, Ya Hussein. We want to see your dome soon, walking upon the angels' wings, leaving behind everything. 75 kilometers on our way to the King of Kings. Our soul is filled, the stars shine on us from above. The air is filled with so much love. This is our call to everyone. Raise up your hands and say as one, Labbaik Ya Hussein. Karbala, we are on our way to you, Ya Hussein. We want to see your dome soon. And as I was saying, the old and frail children are here, walking this road without a fear. We shout and call out Ya Hussein, beating our chest and shedding tears. So what if we're threatened with death? We'll call his name with every breath. This is our call to everyone. Raise up your hands and say